We'll listen to the little voice in the back.
Oh, well done you.
You opened what?
His own crisps.
He's got his Iron Man. Oh, your own crisps? Nice. You're looking very smart there, Fox, in your Iron Man mask. But you're revealing who you are. Oh, where's Tony Stark, stroke Fox Winters gone? There he is. It's Iron Man and his clothes. There's, oh, no. There's Iron Man. There's Iron Man. There's Tony Stark, Fox Winters. Oh, there you go. We could go on like that all day. So good morning, everybody. And I hope you're all fine and dandy out there in YouTube land. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We've still got a couple of days that are off that we're owed. Bits and bobs and Hazel's. Well, it's actually Hazel's day off. She doesn't work Wednesdays. So there you go. But yeah. So we are off to Duxford Air.
It's the Imperial War Museum.
It's an Imperial War Museum, yeah. It's aircraft mainly. So you've got aircraft, warbirds from all different decades. So we're going to have a look at those. And there's a play area. Oh, cool. Play it. What, for adult boys?
I'm sure you could play on it if you really wanted to.
Let's be honest, the whole thing. Any war museum is a play area for any boy in it of my age. But no, it's really interesting and amazing, the history that goes with these aircraft and the kit that's there. So yeah, so Duxford, here we come. Hopefully we're going to get a nice day out. I'm looking forward to see. They've one of the aircraft they've got there that's actually, I don't know, what would you use, flyable? I don't know. It's a Spitfire, and I absolutely adore Spitfires. So hopefully I'll get to see that up close. I think they've got a Messerschmitt in there, which is pretty cool. They've got B-52. Oh, there's a hangar dedicated to the USSAF or USAAF, United States Air Force anyway. So I'm sorry if I've put the wrong initials up. I've said the wrong initials. But yeah, so that'll be interesting to see the American stuff. I've been here a couple of times, but I've not been here for so long. So I wonder if any of the exhibits have changed. Anyway, we'll see when we get there. It's a pretty cool place. Yeah, let's just go there and see. There's one of the aircraft hangars and all the stuff in. We're just about to go in there now. Sorry about the blustery wind. They've got a lovely spit here. Well, the model spit, I'm guessing. There you go. There you go. There she is. Beautiful. What is it, Fox? It's not a tank. What is it? A war truck. It was a tank. You know it's a tank, don't you? Yeah. I kind of guess you could get away with saying it's a war truck. Because it is kind of a truck and it is used for war. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we've come to some agreement on that. Fox fell out the car in front of a little young lady, but he tried to style it out by making out that he meant to do it. No, war people. I don't think there's any, you mean soldiers and airmen and stuff like that, and sailors. I don't think you find them here. So that's it, guys. That's the visitor centre. That's where you enter, obviously. I do believe that this was an active airfield during World War II. In fact, I'm sure it was. Let's go inside and have a look. Thanks for that bit of information about one of the wee Fox. Obviously it adds to the quality of the video. There you go. So active from World War I to the Cold War. There you go. These Spitfire pilots getting younger, aren't they? They probably weren't much older than him, to be honest, in the war, during the war. Oh, where? So I'm guessing this bit here looks like the old mess. So obviously they're using it as a cafe now. So it's armoury, maybe an old armoury, I don't know, maybe it's an old officer's mess. So excited, look at his little face. So excited, such a boy. Mind you, I'm quite excited myself, to be honest. Driving a tank now. You're very talented, Fox. You've gone from flying an aeroplane a bit to driving a tank, becoming a tank commander. How cool is that? And Mummy's behind him. Oh, cute. There's nothing as heartwarming as seeing your son looking through a picture, or with his face superimposed behind a picture of a tank destroying things. Lovely. That's a charming looking thing, isn't it? The Polaris. Look at these. Oh, beautiful. Let's have a little walk around here, shall we? There is a Concorde somewhere and you can go on it apparently. Look at this beauty. Size of that jet engine. Amazing. Concorde's over here. It's an old Boac one, I think. Look at these things. They're massive. Size of that prop. Tyres. This is one plane. So this absolute beauty is that. RAF long range transport aircraft. Very cool. This is phenomenal. First World War British bomber. Look at that thing. Just look at it. Machine gun post on the back. A Harrier jump jet up there. Look at that beauty. And this, is this the, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I think it's a Vulcan, isn't it? It's a whacking great thing. Tornado. So this is the cockpit of the Tornado. Look at it. Fearsome looking thing. Terrifying looking thing, to be honest. And there Fox's little squeaky voice in the background. I'm good, Fox, thank you. Yep, this beauty is the Vulcan. Vulcan Avro Vulcan B2. Wow, thing. Look at these bomb, I'm assuming these are bomb doors here. God, this is terrifying. So I'm walking under the bomb doors now. Landing gear on this thing. And this is the front landing gear of the Vulcan. Got my own personal plane here. There you go, just to prove it. I wished. We all know this one, don't we? Concorde, the back of it. Right, I'm smack bang under the wing of Concorde now. Look at it, it's amazing. Do you know what? My aunt flew on this a few times to visit family in the States. She's passed away a while ago now, bless her, but she flew on this and she said that it was an experience like nothing else. And I can imagine that it was. Phenomenal. This gun turret at the back. God, imagine being in there, it must have been terrifying. Bloody hell. These are far, far braver men than I. I don't think I'll be able to do their shoelaces up, to be honest. Look at this, this is terrifying. How brave would you have to be to get into that? And just sit at the back of bloody hell. Sitting at the back of this. Oh, you're at a free-for-all there, look at it. Bloody hell. No wonder a lot of them got killed, bless them. Concord again from underneath. So here I'm back at the Lancaster. Just look at it, imagine that. Do you know what, that must have been terrifying for whoever it was, whether you were English, German, whoever, to hear these coming at you. Not these for the British, but the German opposite. To hear the noise and the drone of the engines must have been absolutely bloody terrifying. More unbelievably brave lads. This is Glider Pilot Regiment. Dummy parachutist. Fox is in there somewhere, he's happy now. Found a playground with a mock-up of a plane, warplane, so he's happy. See him in the back of the fuselage. That's the, what you call it, that's the rear gunner's position. He's happy, look at him. Might join him myself in a minute. I could say I'm growing a beard, but I'm not. I'm just too lazy to shave. I'm being scruffy. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? You go into these places and memories come back to you. And I used to work with a guy years ago after going into where the Airborne Museum is. And I used to work with a guy years ago, I'm sure I might have said this before, called Fred. And Fred was a great guy. Really good friend of mine, actually. And the thing about Fred is he was wounded at Arnhem. He was dropped at Arnhem. He was a paratrooper, and I always remember he used to get quite a bad limp in his leg, particularly when the weather wasn't great. And yeah, I think I'm sure it was his brother or somebody else who got badly injured at Arnhem as well. I think the pair of them were dropped, but definitely Fred. And I always remember some of the tales and stories that Fred used to tell me at those times, and they were very, very dark times. You know, people say the good old days. I'm not sure it would be if you were in the military then, or even on the home front, because that's equally as bad, if not worse, in a lot of ways. I mean, you know, a lot of the fighting troops didn't see much action, depending on where they were in the theatre of war, whereas on the front line, or at a home front, you know, you couldn't avoid but being massacred or have bombs dropped on you from a great height. And I'm not just talking about England or Britain, I'm talking about, you know, nationwide, wherever, or Britain and Germany, France, all those type of places. But yeah, you know, as I said before, they were a different breed of people, you know. And every time I come to places like this and I see the type of things they've gone through and the things they endured, it makes me A, appreciate them, B, appreciate that I knew them and I could interact with them and I was a big part or a part of their lives and they were a big part of mine, and C, it makes me gobsmacked at the endurance of them. Just phenomenal. There aren't sadly that many of that generation left now, but you know, people go on about, oh, we want to get rid of the war, you know, we don't want to be taught war in schools anymore, we don't want to be taught war in universities, we don't want to talk about it anymore, let it go, let it die. But you can't, because as somebody once said, you know, if you forget the past, you're in danger of repeating it again and again and again. And you know, we need to realise and appreciate what these men and women have done for us, not just throw them away like, well, that was a part of history, we can forget it. You can't bugger about with history, because if you bugger about with history, you bugger about with society. If you bugger about with society, you're buggering about with mankind, and if you bugger about with mankind, we are all in the crap. So there are some things you need to remember, no matter how bitter or horrible they were, and you need to eke some sort of appreciation from it. And the appreciation that I have, as most people should have, is that some people would say we're not free today, but in my opinion, we lead a pretty privileged life because of the woes that these people suffered. So I thank them for one anyway. We're going to see some more aircraft in a minute. I'm going to go in the American one as well. So yeah, they've got some fantastic stuff in the American one. So this building here is what I really want to look at, because this is the Battle of Britain element of the museum. So I'm hoping they've got all kinds of wonderful stuff in there to look at. So let's go in. Hazel's taken Fox over to the tarmac, see if she can get on some of these planes. He is loving it, absolutely loving it. So here we go, there's Hazel there, getting a bit carried away with the moment there, pretending to be aeroplanes. Was that good? Is mummy silly? Yeah, why am I talking to a hood? This way? Is mummy being silly? Oh, look at you! Hello. Oh, sorry. Punch you in the face there, sorry. You alright? Yeah. You having fun? What's your funniest thing so far? Aeroplane. Who? Aeroplane. You like an aeroplane, don't you? Yeah. What's your favourite thing so far, mummy? Being a pretend aeroplane. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid and we used to play warplanes, and I remember the noises he used to make. I was saying to Hazel, I showed the noises he used to make. It was, and then if it was a machine gun, it was. So those are the type of noises I made. I hope nobody's looking at me thinking I'm wanting for something. But yeah, so let's go in the Battle of Britain one. Right, this is very cool, guys. So you see this building here. Obviously, you can see this building here. So we're going to go back to 1940s, because they've superimposed some American Air Forcemen coming out of this building during the Second World War. And there was 78 fighter group. Look, so if you line, I know it's not looking very well there, but if you line it up like that, I'm not, but if you line it up like that, there you go.
That's it.
So that is a picture of them coming out. That's the 1940s, 1943 that was, when the United States Air Force took over the station in 1943. Pretty cool. Fantastic. Oh, look at this, this is a hurricane. Oh my word. Oh, I'm going to cry. Just stunning. I think that's a spit over the back. Messerschmitt. Let's have a little look, shall we? Fantastic. No, he's not in the desert. That's the wrong uniform. He's been shot down in a cornfield, I should think. I'm being pedantic now. Look at these. These are bloody amazing. God, I'd love to do an investigation in here. I bet some of these machines have got so much energy attached to them. In particular, war machines. I quite like this. This has tickled my funny bone. So obviously during the war, when aluminium and all sorts of metals were very, very rare and hard to get, because obviously they were using them for the troops and building machine guns and bombs and God knows what, and also aircraft and tanks and what have you, people used to put, or they'd take their frying pans and they would melt them all down to make spits. So aluminium out of the frying pan into the spit fire. Brilliant, very good. Oh my word. These machines bring a tear to my eye. Oh. Machines that made Britain great, eh? Machines that saved Britain, and also the men that flew in them. And the women, because women used to fly these to deliver them. There's some great books out there about the women pilots during the Second World War, and they were major use. And they used to deliver these to different, well, basically to different airfields. Not just these, but bombers and everything. But imagine these, imagine the stuff these guys have seen. Imagine what they've been put through. Oh. In the day, who would have ever imagined that these would be iconic as the men that flew them? Just unbelievable. I don't know if you can see it, but look at that exhaust burn down the side of that fuselage. Look at it, look at that, it's unbelievable. They don't call Spitfires for nothing. I think that's just gorgeous, absolutely stunning. Put that light out! Put that light out!
Well, here they come again. Looks like
His battered legs, looks like your legs.
Mum in. Foxes.
Same flags night after night.
Did you make sure the windows were shut before you came down there?
I did. But it won't make much difference if Jerry lands one house, will it?
So this is a section of the monuments up the city. Look how detailed and fantastic this is. They're scrambling. Right, the guys at the back. That is beautiful. Beautiful. So we've just come out of the World War II exhibit, or the Battle of Britain exhibit, I should say, to give it its proper moniker. And while we're in there walking around with Fox, I was over by the Spitfires, and this old chap came over to Fox and we started talking to him. I mean, he works here, and he was telling Fox about all the years that he spent during the war as a child. He was Fox's age when the war started, so he was 4, way into his 80s now, and he was telling Fox about, he showed him the Mickey Mouse mask that the kids used to have. I think it was up until the age of 7, he said they wore them, and those are those ones with the little bit of rubber that comes out there, and the kids used to make rude noises through them. I think they entertained themselves for hours with those, the kids. And he was telling Fox all about that, and he was telling Fox also that he was in the Air Force during the 50s, during conscription. So he was conscripted into the Air Force, and yeah, he was telling him all about that. But he was telling Fox about how he spent time with his grandparent in South London, even though he came from sort of North London, Finchley. South London at the time wasn't getting bombed that much, but unfortunately what happened was that the bombers, as they came over, they went over South London to get to sort of North London, to get to Airfield where the small arms are, and also into the city in the East End, because obviously where we come from, they've got the munitions factories there, the Royal Small Arms. So they wanted to basically debilitate that. They wanted to bomb that, and he said that they came over, and in the end it got so bad in South London that his mum and dad sent him back to North London to his own parents. And he spent time in Anderson shelters, and that he was telling Fox as a kid with his granddad and his mum. And then he was telling Fox about that, he was telling all of us really that he'd got, because I was surprised, because obviously a lot of kids during that period were evacuated, weren't they? Lots of evacuees went to these little villages and towns away from the bombed areas, away from the areas that are part of the theatre of war. And he said that he got sent out here to Cambridge. I think it was his nan's idea. But and I know this has happened for a fact because I've heard other people say it, but he got into a fight with the local kids and they kept fighting and arguing because obviously he was a stranger. They didn't like him, he didn't particularly like them, and then he got sent back to North London because they thought it was safer for him to be in amongst the bombing than it was to spend time amongst the kids that they were going to kill each other. So yeah, so that was what it was. Really, really, really interesting. And these are the type of things that I say, these are the type of stories that we need to hear. And these are the type of stories, I'm glad he came over to Fox. It was very, very kind of him. He was a sweet gentleman. And I'm glad he came over to Fox and told Fox about his experiences. Because even though he's only 4, you'd be surprised at what goes in. And I want him to realise what people went through so that he appreciates everything he's got now. And he appreciates the freedom that he's got because of those people. And, you know, and just appreciates those people for the brave individuals and wonderful, wonderful individuals that they were. So it impressed myself, and it impressed Hazel, and Fox was very impressed. Fox really liked him. Fox was following him about like a little dap dog, getting all this information from him, so that was great. Fox, what do you think about that man that was telling you all that information about the war? Was he interesting? Yeah. He was, wasn't he? Yeah. He told you about the gas masks, didn't he? The Mickey Mouse masks. Yeah. What did he say that little bit of rubber at the front does? He made farty noises with it, didn't they? He made funny noises.
It made what noises?
Lots of noises, didn't they?
It made like cross, angry noises.
It did. It did make sort of angry noises, didn't it? And he showed you, didn't he, that he had to put them on at your age. Yeah. And he said that he was amongst all the bombings, wasn't he, during the war when he was a little boy. Interesting stuff, Fox. Interesting stuff. History's amazing. So I think we've done most of what we can from here. There are other bits to see, but I think if I was to film everything, it would last a month. But I will be coming back again because it's really interesting. And we were talking about coming back at some point, but there's an air show on here. Yeah, so we'll see anyway. But yeah, I can't get it all in, unfortunately, because it would take forever. So I'm going to say goodbye. Was that goodbye, Hazel?
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.